In this video, I wanted to give you a side-by-side comparison of the latest version of WordPress that was just released on the 4th of July. That's version 3.2, comparison to the prior version, or at least ways kind of sort of a prior version, that would be 3.11. Now, before I do that, one of the new items with the WordPress 3.2 release is that they say that for the first updates, and I'm assuming they mean all updates afterwards, after 3.2, that they will only be updating the files that have changed with each new release instead of every single file in the WordPress installation, because that's one of the reasons why I really jumped on the bandwagon whenever I found out what a child theme was because if I were to do some tweaks to the default theme, because actually I've been using the 2010 theme for a lot of my main sites for, well, since it came out, because it's cool, it's strong, it's almost virtually unbreakable with any of the other plugins, because all the plugins that are developed with the default WordPress theme in mind. So if there are issues with a theme, it's usually because it's not a default theme for WordPress. Anyway, my point though is that if I make some tweaks, for example, to the width of the sidebar over here, because for some odd reason the fine folks over at WordPress did not realize that a majority of, say, banner ads were 125 pixels wide, and if you double them up side by side, you need a sidebar width of at least 250 some odd pixels, and because other standard banner width might be 250 pixels wide. And if you do not do any tweaking, well, this is kind of what happens. The side by side gets cut off, and this is all you get. Or as you can see how it's kind of cut off here, this is a 250 pixel wide banner ad. So I make my default theme customizations to where I have at least a 250 pixel wide sidebar, and then every time I update from 3.0 to 3.1 to 3.11, each one of those updates would result in this type of a fiasco. So then I went to the child theme after I learned how to make one, and it was a dream come true. Now, with this latest release of WordPress 3.2, they say that this is never going to happen again, unless, of course, there is a change to the file that I use, in this case, a style.css and the page.php file, that those will not change. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to the test to see if it happens with the 3.2, not just the uploads after that, but with this particular one. So let's go ahead and make this right. I'm going to pause the video here for a second, and as you can see, there's a little bit of a cosmetic change here, and this is because I tweaked the page.php and the style.css file. So this is what I was referring to earlier as far as having the minimum width of 250 pixels. I actually think this is like 280 or something like that. But anywho, so this is how it's supposed to look. So let's see if it looks this way after I upgrade this to the 3.2, because then I'm going to be comparing the 3.2 version, that'll be this site here, to this site here, which is currently 3.1.1. And I'm just basically going over some of the cosmetic changes that have taken place and some of the major changes that have taken place. But first, let's go ahead and upgrade this guy to the 3.2. Let's go ahead and close this out. Go in here and update. Now, oh, and by the way, before you make any updates, this is just should be standard operating procedures. You should always do a backup, just like it tells you right here. Backup of your database and files. So let's just pretend that I did that. So as you can see right off the bat, it tells you that the browser that you're using is not up to date. Yeah, that's fine with me. I'll stick with the tried and true. But as we can see right here, oh yeah, let's check out the page first before we go any further. And it did not break anything. So right off the bat there, we're on the right track. So evidently in the upgrade from 3.1.2, which is what this was, to the 3.2, the page.php and or the style.css has not had any changes, so those files were not affected in the upgrade. Very cool.